In just a moment, X-1, but first, a quiz program does not always improve your IQ. But when it's an NBC radio quiz program, you can be sure it will improve your disposition. Yes, NBC offers listeners a laugh session every Wednesday night with 2 fun-filled question and answer shows. One is Truth or Consequences, and though you may never learn why a chicken crosses the road, you'll howl as contestants perform the stunts dreamed up by MC Jack Bailey. The other is You Bet Your Life, and with a quizmaster like Groucho Marx, your good time is always guaranteed. Hear Truth or Consequences and You Bet Your Life tomorrow. Now stay tuned for X-1 on NBC. X-1 in 1 minute. This week is Military Reserve Week. If you're a young man between the ages of 17 and 18 and a half, you can fulfill your military obligation with only 6 months of active duty. You need no longer ask yourself, when will I be drafted? By joining the 6-month reserve training program, you become draft exempt and can plan your future with confidence. You are paid for your service while in training. You may be able to pick the exact job you want depending upon your aptitudes and Army vacancies. You may enlist in the program and then receive a deferment until you have finished high school. Your training will teach you to protect yourself and your family in any emergency. The training builds you physically, and the technical skills you learn can help you later in your civilian career. There are many other big advantages for you in the 6-month training program. Visit your Army Reserve Center for all the facts about your big opportunity in the 6-month training program. Learn how you can plan your future with confidence.
The book says, when the ship shall enter into the orbital pool of its destination, the motors will change in sound due to the increased anti-gravity components. A study is being made to interpret the meaning of the word destination, which was lost some 4,000 years ago and has always been a subject for much controversy. But this need not concern you. Suffice to be reassured that the change in the sound of the motors is a part of the scheme of things. Return to the schedule. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Countdown for blastoff. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X minus 1.
Tonight, The Sense of Wonder by Milton Lesser.
The huge ship sped endlessly through space on a voyage that had lasted 10,000 years, the journey which had no end. And for those aboard her, there was no other universe. To them, the ship was all. The ship is all. Rykud read the slogan embossed in raised letters of steel outside the door to the priest's compartment. The ship is all. His eyes wandered to the face of the young man standing next to him, his superior, Kreifer. The face had the empty, unquestioning expression that was typical of the people of the ship.
Are you ready, Kreifer?
I am. Enter.
Come in.
Well? I am Kreifer. Superior class, 3rd level, compartment Y51.
Welcome.
This is my attendant, Rykud.
Be welcome. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
What is your mission?
My superior's schedule shows that today he is 25 units of age. He is ordered to appear before the priest of the 3rd level to be given a woman.
You have the schedule with you?
Here.
Good. You have your certificate of health and fertility?
Show him the certificate, Rykud. Don't just stand there dreaming.
Oh, yes. Here.
Good. Return to your compartment. I will have the matron bring you a woman from the 4th level. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Kryper returned to his compartment, followed by Rykud. There was no questioning in the mind of either of them. At birth, each of the people was classified as a superior or an attendant, and the coded marking of his schedule was tattooed on his right arm. Both of these young men were 25, strongly built, and tanned from constant exposure to the health rays in the ship's conditioning room. Kryper wore the loose-fitting robe of a superior. Rykud wore the tight trousers and shirt of an attendant. They entered the comfortably furnished compartment.
Kryper,
Yes.
what do you suppose she'll be like?
What difference does it make?
Don't you even wonder about it?
I wonder about nothing. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Well, naturally, but still...
We've been together as superior and attendant ever since the nursery. As an attendant, your entire purpose in life is to keep me alive and productive, to perpetuate the people. I would hate to have to part with you now.
To part with me?
Not of my own choosing, of course, but sometimes I detect what appears to be a strain of unorthodox thinking.
Really? I was not aware of it.
I am not entirely aware of it myself. Not enough for me to report you. However, I must warn you that if it should increase, I will have to send you for therapy.
Well, I assure you there'll be no need for that. I've never deviated from the schedule. I have never disobeyed the buzzer.
I am merely observing, asking questions like, don't you even wonder this is the first step to unorthodoxy?
I shall watch myself for signs of it.
Good. Ah, the eating buzzer.
Your schedule calls for a massive dose of multivitamins.
Fine, prepare it in the green vegetables today.
Today is a starch day.
Oh, I'd forgotten.
We could just skip it today.
Rykud.
Well...
Of course, skipping the vitamins for one day is a permissible deviation, but I shall have to report for punishment tomorrow.
Well?
Skip the vitamins.
I knew we would. You've never missed a permissible deviation yet.
It's your influence that makes me do it.
And you always blame it on me.
That's what attendants are for.
Yes, I know.
That must be the matron with the woman. Open the door. Maintain the utmost dignity, please.
Yes?
Is this the compartment of Kryper, 3rd level, Y51?
Yes?
I am matron of the woman's level.
Enter. I am Rykud, Kryper's attendant. This is Kryper.
I have brought a mate for you. This is she.
Be welcome. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Her name is Aylin.
Welcome, Aylin.
I am most happy to be here. Praise the ship.
Come. I will show you which compartment is to be ours. This way. There are 5 compartments in this suite, and ours will be this.
Will you take food, matron? Why do you look at me that way?
That mark on your forehead. You have always had such a mark?
Yes.
And you have another diamond-shaped on your right shoulder?
How could you know such a thing?
Your name is Rykud.
Rykud.
How like him you look.
How like whom?
Your father.
My what?
Of course, you could not know the meaning.
What do you say?
When you were born, like any of the people of the ship, you were taken immediately and placed in the nursery of the ship. You never knew who sired you, nor did they know you.
Naturally. It's according to the schedule.
Yes, it's according to the schedule.
I have a strange feeling toward you. I can't explain it.
What sort of feeling, Rykud?
As if we've met before. But that's impossible, of course.
Yes. Still, there have been cases, it is almost heresy to mention it, where a mother has been able to keep her child for a while.
Such a female would be turned over to the control chief and fed into the converter.
If she were discovered.
It is a criminal thing to do. It is said to warp the child so that he becomes a heretic at an early age.
Yes, it is very, very criminal.
Still, you say there have been cases.
Once there was a woman, it is said, an attendant, who managed to conceal such a child behind one of the forbidden doors for almost 3 years.
Behind the doors? It's unspeakable.
Very likely only a rumor.
It's shocking to hear of such things. Behind the forbidden door.
You're shocked, and yet something seems to stir deep in your memory, perhaps.
Nothing.
You're certain?
Why do you speak to me thus, woman?
Come closer.
What is it?
Closer. Where there's no chance that we'll be overheard.
Well?
Rykud, you are that child.
I will not listen. I will not listen.
You are that child.
How could you know such a thing?
I am 70 units of age. 25 units ago, I was a matron of the nursery. This person came to me and told me of her child, which she had concealed in the space lock behind the forbidden door. She begged me to take it and place it in the nursery with the other children. I had been her attendant for many years, and we were close to each other. I did as she asked.
But are you certain this child was me?
I remember the marks upon it.
And I am doomed.
Why doomed?
I have known my own parent. This accounts for the strange feelings that come over me sometimes.
What feelings are those?
A feeling... a sense of wonder.
Ah.
You seem pleased.
Rycould.
What?
Your superior returns, I cannot speak. But if you would satisfy this sense of wonder, I have a book which I will give you.
I cannot accept a book without the supervision of the ship's librarian.
Take this one. Keep it concealed. Here.
No.
Take it quickly. They're coming.
Well, what are you two whispering about?
I was merely explaining to your attendant how he must behave in the presence of your mate.
There is no need to explain. All is scheduled. Nothing is questioned. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship. I hope that your union will produce the optimum number of children. I'll leave now.
Aylin,
Yes, Chrysler.
your duties will be very simple. Reichert will teach you how to prepare my meals, and you will memorize my schedule. In 3 months, he will be freed from service as my attendant, and he will report to the second level to find a mate in the attendant class.
Yes, Chrysler.
It's time for my health treatment. Teacher Reichert.
Yes, Chrysler. Come here. Closer, where I may examine you. This is Chrysler's schedule. You will memorize it.
Yes.
Here is a list of permissible deviations.
Oh, I am familiar with it, naturally.
I see. I was not aware of what training you received on the women's level.
The matron trained us well.
Good. You have been with the matron a long time?
Ever since I left the nursery.
I see. What is she called?
Mara.
Mara? Tell me, did she ever speak to you of a sense of wonder?
Are you of the control police?
Certainly not.
Then you should know better than to discuss feelings.
I'm sorry. I thought perhaps...
What's that?
The change bell. There has been some change.
It frightens me. Oh, what does it mean?
I don't know. I heard it only once before. When the ship passed very close to a red planet, there was a shower of stars, and the ship seemed to shake, and the change bell rang. We were all summoned to the priest and told that we must undergo a test for radioactivity.
What are we to do now?
Reichert, Aylin, quickly. It is the change bell. We are all summoned to the priest of our level. Quickly!
Within a few moments, the people of the third level of the ship were assembled in the area outside the compartment of Chul, the priest. They stood there trembling, listening, and panicked to the clangor of the change bell, not daring to wonder what it meant, but aware that something different had happened. Something different.
I'm frightened.
Hush! The priest is coming.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Listen to Chul, your priest. I have just been in contact with the chief priest of the ship. This is what I have been given to say. For 10,000 years now, ever since the ship began the voyage which has no end, we have lived as one people following the schedule. In those years, the change bell has rung only twice. On one occasion, it was to announce a change in the schedule for the preservation of the people of the ship following the epidemic. On another occasion, the ship passed close to a radioactive explosion, and it was feared that we had become dangerously activated. Now the change bell has rung again. You wish to know the reason, naturally. I am given to tell you there has been a change in the sound of the motor. There is no cause for alarm. The priests have consulted the book, which no man may see save the high priest. And we have learned that there is in the book a provision for a change in the sound of the motors. The book says, when the ship shall enter into the orbital pool of its destination, the motors will change in sound due to the increased anti-gravity components. A study is being made to interpret the meaning of the word destination, which was lost some 4,000 years ago and has always been a subject for much controversy. But this need not concern you. Suffice to be reassured that the change in the sound of the motors is a part of the scheme of things. Return to the schedule. The ship is all. Praise the ship.
The ship is all. Praise the ship.
On his way back to his compartment, Rykud stopped for a moment in front of the forbidden door which led to no one knew what, and listened to the sound of the motors. Yes, it was true. There was a new sound. It was frightening, and yet at the same time it made Rykud's heart leap with expectation. He looked at the forbidden door again and read the warning.
No unauthorized persons permitted through this door.
Attendant?
Yes.
What's your name and compartment?
Rykud, attendant to Kryfer, third level, Y51. Who are you?
Graf, control police. Why do you loiter outside the forbidden door?
I was merely reading the warning, trying to impress it upon my brain.
Is there a need to impress it? You have doubts?
Well, no. No, of course not.
Then why bother to impress it? If you have no doubts, there is no need to impress it.
Well, I was merely... You see, I am engaged in the training of a mate for my superior. I wish to make certain that she knows every jot and line of the warning.
Has she doubts?
I'm sure she does not.
Then why impress the warning upon her? It should be sufficiently impressed upon her since birth.
I was merely...
You were merely loitering, eh? Tell me, Rykud, do you ever wonder what is behind the forbidden door?
Never.
Are you perfectly content?
Perfectly.
Good. I'm going to enter your name in my report as a warning. See that it is not repeated.
I will see.
Return to your compartment.
I will return. Praise the ship.
Praise the ship.
Rykud went back to his own compartment. He tried to push the events of the day out of his mind. It was almost too much to cope with. First the mate for Kryper, then the news of his birth, now the change in the sound of the motors, and the book. Rykud lay inside his bunk, drew the curtain, and took the tiny, ancient plastic book from his trouser belt. He opened it and began to read.
It was thought advisable to keep from the passengers on the ship the fact that their voyage might end in catastrophe. Forced to leave the Earth because of its radioactivity following the 3 wars, the inhabitants of the ship, to all intents and purposes, became the inhabitants of a new world. The ship was their world. The organizers of the expedition felt it would be cruel to inform them that the ship's navigation machinery had been set in a series of ever-increasing circles and then ever-decreasing circles, so that in 10,000 years the ship would return to Earth. There was the possibility that Earth would no longer exist, or that the radioactivity would have made it uninhabitable, even if the remaining humans hadn't managed to explode it. Therefore, the ship became all. Even the word destination was eliminated. If it were known that I had chronicled this account, I would most certainly be executed and the book destroyed. Most likely it will pass into legend and be disbelieved anyway, just as fairy tales and even biblical accounts have become tolerated but disbelieved by many who were...
The sleep buzzer sounded, and Rykud's eyes closed automatically. Ordinarily, the people of the ship did not dream. It was considered a sign that therapy was needed. Tonight, Rykud dreamed.
Rise. Dress. Eat. Raise the ship. Rise. Eat. Dress. The ship is off.
Rykud!
No.
Rykud!
What? Shh. What is it?
You've been dreaming. I heard you and came in to see what was troubling you.
Where's Kryper?
He sleeps like the dead.
I was dreaming. Ellen, look at me and tell me the truth. Do you ever dream? Do you?
Yes.
I know it. I could tell it by looking at your eyes.
But you mustn't tell anyone.
I won't. You were very close to the matron, were you not?
Yes.
Did she ever read to you?
Read?
Did she ever read from this?
Where did you get that?
She gave it to me.
Then you must be one of the trusted ones.
Who are the trusted ones?
Some of us, the women who were with the matron since we were very small. We've been trusted by her to hear the reading of this book.
I see.
But if anyone found out...
I know.
Rykud?
Yes?
I feel very strange.
I too.
What is it?
I don't know.
Sometimes, after the matron had read to us from the book, I would have this feeling, strange and frightened. And she would comfort us.
Comfort? What does that mean?
She would put her arms around us.
And did that comfort you?
Yes.
How terribly strange.
Rykud,
Yes?
comfort me. Put your arms around me.
Helen.
Please, will you?
Yes. Yes, yes.
On the following morning, when Kreifer went to the conditioning room, as prescribed by the buzzer, Rykud drew Aylin over to the spaceport and slid aside the protective shield.
Look,
I am looking.
tell me what you see.
I see the stars and space.
Look closely. Do you see nothing unusual?
I so seldom look through the spaceport.
I'll tell you then. Look there. See that one star, so big and so bright that it hurts your eyes?
Well,
I've been watching it. It is growing larger each hour.
stars do that.
Never has one been this large.
What difference does it make? The stars exist only as pictures in the glass of the viewport. They're not real. The ship is all.
That is what we are told, but perhaps it isn't true.
What?
Perhaps these stars do not exist only in the glass of the viewport. Perhaps they exist beyond the viewport.
I don't understand.
Let me say it this way once and forever. Perhaps, Aylin, the ship is not all.
Rykud, your heresy frightens me. Rykud, hold me close. It frightens me even to look at you. Oh, Rykud, you mustn't even think it.
I do think it. I believe it. I believe the ship is not all.
And I believe you are a candidate for the converter.
Kreifer.
Don't move, Rykud, or I'll blast you into dust. It is bad enough for an attendant even to touch his superior's mate, but to couple it with the ultimate heresy. There is nothing but death in this.
Kreifer, I beg of you.
Stand aside, Aylin. I'm going to finish this heretic. Now, Rykud. Oh.
Have I killed him?
No, he's just stunned.
Oh, Rykud, what can we do?
I don't know.
Rykud, the change bell again. Something's happening.
I know what has happened. Come, we'll go to the priest.
What about Kreifer? He'll have us killed.
No, it's too late to think of that. Come. Come, Aylin. Stand close to me. The priest is entering.
Silence! Once again, the change bell has sounded. There has been another change. Doubtless you all felt the shock and the vibration a moment ago. I am informed that the motors have stopped. Silence! However, once again, there is no need for any panic or alarm. We will continue to live our lives just as before. The only thing that has changed is that the motors have stopped and that the view in the viewports has changed. Behold. The view in the viewports has been changed from the stars to a garden. That is all there is to it. The book makes mention of the fact that the view in the viewports is changeable. Go back to your compartments and resume the schedule. The buzzer will be your guide as always. The ship is all.
The ship is all.
Wait! No, I have something to say. Listen, this is what I have to say. The ship is no longer all.
Seize him!
Keep back! I have my superior's ray gun. I will destroy any who move to seize me. Listen to what I have to say. The view in the viewports is not just a garden. It is the destination. It is the earth. Don't you understand me? We have arrived. We have reached the destination. The journey is over. We can leave the ship and go out into the garden. Fools, can't you understand? Watch the viewport. Watch it. The viewport is broken. I've shattered it. You can go out. Feel the air rush in. Smell its fragrance.
Rykud, they don't move. They don't understand.
Seize him! Kill the heretic! Kill him!
Rykud, they're moving toward us.
Run. Follow me quickly.
After him! Death to the heretic!
Reichert and Aylin ran down the long steel corridor with the crowd on their heels. After a few moments, they came to the forbidden door of the control room.
Aylin, quick, in here.
Reichert, it's forbidden.
I'll have to blast the lock. Quickly, now come. Now, help me close the door. Now the bar. We're safe in here for a while. Not even the priest can make them come in here after us. It'll take them time to figure out what to do.
Reichert, look. Look at the machinery. It's frightening.
We're in the control room. It tells about it in the book. You see this big machine here? There was a drawing in the book. This is the machine that controls the buzzer.
Just a simple machine like that?
Yes, a simple machine. Stand back.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to smash it. Now they're going to have to find a way to live without the buzzer.
Reichert, they're breaking down the door.
Come with me.
Where can we go? There's nothing except the ship.
No, there is more than the ship now, Aylin. There's the Earth. The cool green Earth. I'm going to smash the viewport. Come on. We're going to leave the ship.
Reichert, I'm frightened. Put your arms around me.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Come, Aylin. Take my hand. Here is the Earth. And it is ours.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features a story by F.L. Wallace titled Mesereau Loves Company. When Marcus Mesereau set out on his mission to Earth, he was driven by pride and indignation, plus a practical reason. But if he'd known what lay ahead, he might have decided to let bad enough alone. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you The Sense of Wonder, based on a story from the pages of Galaxy written by Milton Lesser and adapted for radio by George Lefferts. Featured in the cast were James Monks, Bill Quinn, Edwin Jerome, Vera Allen, Rita Lloyd, Joe DeSantis, and Dick Hamilton. Raymond Edward Johnson was the narrator. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Daniel Sutter and is an NBC Radio Network production. Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction, presents X-1. Tonight's story, Courtesy.
This is the story of the second expedition to the planet of Landro. I'm recording it for any future expeditions which might land on this God-forsaken sphere, in the hope that they may learn from our tragic example. As I write, there are 2 of us left. 2 out of an original complement of 180 men. One of us, myself, will be dead in less than 23 minutes. As for the other, heaven have mercy on him, I do not know. On June 3rd, 1997, less than 2 months ago, the last of our supply ships blasted off from Lando for their return to Earth. After it had gone, I remember looking out across the plain at the dead city, one of thousands that dotted this planet. It had tall, graceful buildings, atomic power systems, vacuum conveyors, all perfect, all deserted, all ominous. How had it happened? The best guess was that the plague had frightened the original inhabitants of the planet so that they'd piled into rocket ships and headed for some distant planet. I often wondered why a civilization so advanced as Landro could not find a serum to beat the plague. It had taken our Earth doctors less than 6 months to develop an immunization method. Well, maybe those aborigines back in the hills knew the answer. That strange, ugly little people who had taken to the caves the day we landed. I was thinking these things when something happened that gave me the shock of my life.
Good evening, Captain.
Oh, what brings you here, Doctor?
It's the matter of the serum, sir.
Oh, what about the serum?
It's no good.
No good?
It's too old. 10 years too old.
Didn't you examine it?
Yes, I did, but, well, my eyesight has been failing lately.
Are you aware, Doctor, that the last supply ship has returned to Earth? Do you know we'll have no more contact for 2 years? Just, how long do you give us?
Well, the present immunity will last a week or so. Then, without booster shots, it's just a question of time until someone picks up the plague. After that...
What about the natives? They don't die from the plague?
The accepted theory is that they have developed an immunity.
Well, suppose they haven't developed an immunity, Doctor. Suppose they get the disease.
Then they must have a treatment for it. If they don't, there would be no natives.
Would you be willing to go on an expedition to the hills to find out?
At this point, Captain, I'd be willing to do anything. Absolutely anything. I am truly sorry.
You're sorry? Dr. Morgan, sometime when you aren't too busy, when you have a moment, I'd hate to inconvenience you. Would you mind telling me how it feels to murder 180 men? 181, including yourself. I did a lot of thinking after Dr. Morgan left my hut. It was still unreal for me. After all, the planning of an expedition was no simple thing. You put into it the result of years of training and experience, years of study at the academy, years of learning how to handle men and natives. Every man on my crew was hand-picked for his skill. And yet, a simple thing like a myopic surgeon misreading a label could blast the whole thing. Yes, it was a shame. And I did the only thing I could think of. I yelled for Bat Ears Brady. Brady! Get your carcass in here. Take the lead out.
Okay. Now, what's up?
Sit down, Bat Ears.
You got trouble, Kev?
We got trouble.
What?
The serum's no good.
What?
Morgan forgot to check it. It's 10 years too old.
Holy jumping snails. You're going to court-martial
That wouldn't do much good. We'll all be dead pretty soon unless somebody figures something out.
Well, what are you going to do, Kev?
Well, there's only one chance. One chance in 10 million.
What?
The natives.
Them cave rats. What good can they do us?
Now, they don't get the plague, so maybe they know a cure.
Okay. Let's get a few of them and beat it out of them.
That's why you're here.
Shoot.
How'd you like to come along on a little expedition up to the cave country? You, me, the doctor, and Faulkner.
Faulkner? Now, listen, Cap, he's worse than the doctor.
Yes, but he knows more about the native culture than anybody here. He's the only one who's completely familiar with the records of the first expedition.
Okay, so it's me, you, the doc, and Faulkner. When do we start?
Tonight, in half an hour. We should reach the cave country by tomorrow. With luck, we'll be able to find natives before night. Benny Faulkner was the expedition anthropologist. One of the most unfortunate-looking individuals I've ever met. An ugly man with large ears and a big nose. His body was small and consumptive, But he had a good brain, and he was the best anthropologist the Interplanet Institute could recommend. He and Dr. Morgan were the only two civilians on the expedition. We set out, and after several hours hard walking...
Cap.
Now, what is it?
Don't look now, but very slowly turn your eyes to the right and look behind that big yellow rock.
Okay.
You see anything?
No.
Keep looking. Don't stop walking or let on.
Okay.
There.
Yes, it looked like a shadow or something.
It's one of them gimpos. He's been following us now for almost an hour, dodging in and out behind the rocks. Shall I bring him in?
No, not yet. Just pretend you don't see him. Tell the others, if they notice, to show no fear. There's nothing will start these simple-minded cavemen like fear. The manual said, "Under no circumstances shall a member of the patrol display fear before a native. The dignity of the Earthman must be preserved at all costs." Just before dawn, we reached the cave country. We were tired and hungry, and we stopped to cook some food and rest. Everything was quiet. There was no sign of the gimpo which had been trailing us until...
Okay, get in there, you sneaking little monkey man. Come on, before I break this shovel on your stern.
Here, what's the trouble?
Cap, I caught me one of these gimpos sneaking around outside the tent.
Bring him in the light of the fire. We can get a look at him. Faulkner?
Yes, sir?
Keep an eye on him. Try to establish some communication.
All right, get in there.
Hey, look out. No need to knock him down, Batty.
Oh, that's the only language they understand.
See if you can reach him, Faulkner.
Okay, Captain. I'll need a drum of some sort.
A what?
Well, they have no language as we know it, and they have a very rudimentary sense of hearing. I find they communicate with one another through a very primitive kind of vibration of the tongue. The closest I can come is a series of drum beats, a sort of Morse code. The psychologist on the first expedition had it worked out before he was killed by the plague. I've studied his notes, and I think it'll work.
You mean these little critters can talk to one another?
I believe they can. At any rate, we'll have a chance to find out. Do we have something I can use for a drum?
Here, take my water bottle.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, I'll tap it 3 times. That's a greeting of some sort.
Just a moment.
Yes, sir?
I don't want you treating this fellow like an equal. Don't give him the idea that we're desperate. Once they sense that, you're lost.
I have to communicate with him, sir.
Well, just bear in mind what I said. Dignity.
Yes, sir. I'll do my best, sir.
It was a strange sight. On one side of the water bottle crouched little Benny Faulkner, looking for all the world like a human spider. Across from him crouched the Landrian, a humpbacked, gray little creature with an enormous head and those huge, soft lavender eyes. Every few moments, one would stop the strange tattoo of communication, and the other would take it up. I'm setting forth in this narrative the most vital part of their conversation, as Benny Faulkner later transcribed it from the best of his memory. Benny asked, "Why were your cities abandoned? Was it the plague?" The native said yes. Benny said, "Do you still fear the plague?" The native answered yes. "Do any of your people become afflicted?" The answer was some. "How do you treat them?" Silence. "How can we find a cure for the plague?" More silence. Then the native said, "Go among my people." Then he asked, "Will we find the answer among your people?" The native replied, "My people have the answer." Then he said, "Will you tell me the answer?" The native repeated, "Go among my people." As far as the Landrian was concerned, the conversation was ended. He rose to go, and Faulkner stepped from his path, but Brady was there to ensure the bet.
Hold on there, bucko. You ain't going no place.
Don't maltreat him, Brady. What did he say, Benny?
He says his people have the answer.
What do you think?
There may be some truth in it. He says some of his people still get the plague.
That must mean it isn't a question of immunity. They must have a cure.
Well, he wasn't clear on that.
Then they must have a vaccine to keep it from spreading.
Does he know?
His answer is for us to go among his people.
Well, that leaves it up to us. The first level of caves is on top of that cliff about a mile ahead.
It's a trap. I'll bet my last dollar on it.
Well, maybe not. We'll have to risk it.
Wait.
Well?
Let me go. I got you all into this.
But how will you talk?
Benny here can give me enough of the code so I can ask the big question.
You understand that they might just decide to cut your throat?
I'm fully aware of the risk.
All right, Doctor. You go ahead. We'll wait at the foot of the cliff. If you aren't back down in 3 hours, we'll come up after you.
What about the Gimpo here?
We'll hold him as a hostage to ensure the doctor's safety. If the doc comes back, all right, we'll let him go. If not, well, that's your job, Brady.
A pleasure.
It took Dr. Morgan about an hour to pick his way up the side of the cliff to the first of the openings where the Landrians lived. He waved to us before he entered the mouth of the cave, and we waved back. Then we settled down to wait. It was a long, long wait.
Eight o'clock. He's been up there more than 3 hours, Cap.
Well, we'll give him a little more time.
It's getting colder.
Yes, keep that fire going.
How much longer are you going to wait, Cap?
Oh, we've got lots of time.
You'd think we'd have heard of something by now if they was going to knock him off, I mean.
No, not necessarily. Wait. Look, up on the cliff.
That's him, all right. Hey, what's he running for?
I don't know. He looks scared.
That crazy fool, if he don't look out...
Doctor! Dr. Morgan, look out! Look out! We found the doctor at the foot of the cliff, crumpled and broken. There were no marks on his body, nothing except a twisted, mocking grin on his face. Oh, yes, and one other thing. Scrawled across the pad he had taken with him on which to make notes concerning the answer was a single word. The word was courtesy. We threw the paper away. The expedition was a failure. Though Bat Ears claimed he'd get it out of the Gimpo if I'd let him. I nodded in agreement. Bat Ears took the little native off behind an outcropping of rock. He was back in 15 minutes, dripping with sweat. Well?
Let's go, Cap.
Nothing, huh?
But nothing.
Is he,
They ain't made very good, these little gray people. They come apart too easy, so... Let's go, huh, Cap?
All right. Benny... Benny, what is it?
I feel kind of sick. All of a sudden, in the back of my head, a dull kind of pain.
Let me see your tongue. Come on, give him a hand, Bat Ears. We've got to get him back to camp.
What is it?
I'm not sure, but that blackness on the tongue and the headache, it could be the plague. By the time we got Benny Faulkner back to camp, he had the red spots on his body, and then the fever began to rage. It was the plague, no mistake about it. Before morning, Collins, the supply sergeant, had it. Then it was Peabody. After that, the men went down like 10 pins. Then one morning, Bat Ears Brady dragged himself into my tent and sat down. The lines in his face told me the end was coming pretty fast. Sit down, Brady. Well, what's the count?
6 left. We buried a chaplain today. Got anything to drink?
Sorry, I'm all out.
How about a cigarette, then? You got a cigarette?
Yeah, sure. Here. How's Faulkner?
I don't get it. He's still alive.
Still alive?
Yep. In fact, he's getting better. He's sitting up.
Holy mackerel.
Oh, this is a good cigarette.
It's like any other.
No. This one's different, Cap. This is my last.
What do you mean, Brady?
Take a look at my tongue. See? Little black spots.
Somehow I managed to get him into bed. He was already raving when I gave him the last of the morphine. It was incredible. Big, brawling, bat ears Brady, a tower of strength, lying sick and whimpering on a cot. When he died, I went out on the moors to think. The sun was a dull red glow. Cold breeze whipped up. But somehow I couldn't forget Faulkner. Why should Faulkner recover from a plague from which no man has ever recovered? Surely there must be a reason. Nothing happened without a reason. I turned and went back to see Benny Faulkner.
Hello, Captain.
Hello, Benny. How are you?
Pretty good. I got up and walked a couple of steps today. How goes it?
Brady's gone. I just buried him. Listen, Benny, there must be some reason why...
Well, there's nothing strange about me, nothing different from any other man.
There must be. You survived the virus.
Oh.
Benny, I want you to tell me everything you know about yourself, everything you can remember. Because somewhere in your makeup is some little thing that makes the difference. If I can find that thing, then maybe I can do something to save myself and the rest. Even if I can't, at least I can leave a record for any future expedition that comes to Landro. Okay?
Okay, Captain. Where should I start?
At the beginning. I'm going to take notes.
Well, I was born on the 2nd of July in 1971. My parents were ordinary people. My father was... Look, Captain, I've told you everything I can remember. 3 days now you've gone over me, pawed me, questioned me. What else can I tell you?
Benny, let's go over that last part once again.
Where should I start?
Take it from where the native started to walk away. You stepped out of his path, and Brady grabbed him.
Okay, so I stepped out of his path.
Why?
What do you mean, why?
Why did you step out of his path?
Why not? Courtesy, I guess. What's the matter?
Courtesy. That's the word that Dr. Morgan had scrawled in his notebook.
Well, I don't see that...
I don't either. Tell me, Benny, why should you want to be courteous to a native?
Why not?
What about maintaining your own dignity?
Are you talking about dignity or arrogance?
I don't know. Benny, listen, maybe we were all wet in our deductions. Maybe these cities here on Landro weren't deserted centuries ago. Maybe these little people up in the caves are the same people who used to live in those big cities.
Why would they leave?
Maybe they found out the big cities weren't the answer. Maybe they found out that civilization doesn't necessarily bring happiness. So they just packed up and left, returned to the simple life.
No, it doesn't make sense. You're forgetting the plague.
What is the plague, Benny?
Well, I don't know.
Is it a virus?
I don't think they ever found out.
You know what I think?
What?
I think the plague is nothing more than what we know as greed and arrogance.
Captain, you're going off your rocker.
I think maybe we're in line to die. Serum was good. In fact, I don't think the serum had anything to do with it.
Oh, I never heard anything as crazy, fantastic in my life.
No? Well, I think I'll go back to my tent and finish writing the report. I'm beginning to sweat a little.
Captain, maybe it isn't the plague.
It is. I've seen it too many times to kid myself about it.
Maybe hot compresses or something.
No, Ben.
Listen, Captain, you don't believe that junk about courtesy, do you? I mean, that's a lot of nonsense. You must know that. Holy mackerel, Captain. You do believe it, don't you?
Good night, Benny. I think I'd like to be alone for a while.
Okay. Good night, Captain.
Maybe the supply ship will be early. You can probably stick it out.
Sure. Good night, Captain.
This concludes my report. I'm turning it over to Benny Faulkner in the hopes that he will be able to transmit it to any other expedition commander who contemplates exploring the planet of Landro. The fever is beginning to mount now. My hands tremble as I write. The end should not be far off. There's little question in my mind as to what it'll be. You see, I didn't have a chance. I stepped out of no paths. I showed no courtesy.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Street and Smith, publishers of astounding science fiction. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Courtesy, adapted for radio by George Lefferts from the story by Clifford Simad. Featured in the cast were Brett Morrison as Captain Ira Warren, Arnold Robertson as Battiers Brady, Edwin Jerome as Dr. Morgan, and Bill Griffiths as Benny Faulkner. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Ken McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production. And now, next week, the frontier is a strange place, and a frontier is not always easy to recognize. It may lie on the other side of a simple door marked No Admittance, but it is always deadly dangerous. What happens when an innocent girl ignores a single regulation? You will find out next week at X-1.
When you buy United States savings bonds, you help to build your own future security. Here's an opportunity to save systematically for long-range personal objectives. And with their increased yield and other improvements, U.S. savings bonds are a better investment than ever before.
Countdown for blast-off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire.
From the far horizons of the unknown come transcribed tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million could-be years on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents
X-1.
Tonight, Student Body by F.L. Wallace. Our story in 1 minute.
Girl,
Boy,
moon,
June,
ring,
wedding,
home,
money,
baby,
money,
education,
money,
retirement,
money,
solution.
United States savings bonds.
There's a smart couple. They're looking to the future. They know how important it is to plan for the future now with savings bonds.
Yes, the plans you make today will determine what kind of tomorrow you have. Are you a student? Are you a young married couple? Are you approaching the golden years? Whatever your age, whatever your situation, savings bonds can be a big help in making your tomorrow secure and happy.
Plan wisely. Buy savings bonds regularly where you work or where you bank. They're a good investment. You're saving your money and you're earning more. Series E bonds pay 3% interest compounded twice a year when the bonds are held to maturity.
And savings bonds are as safe and sound as America itself. What's more, they're protected against loss or theft.
For the big things in your life, be ready with United States savings bonds.
And now, Student Body by F.L. Wallace.
Emergency report to Central Colonial Service. Subject Planet 7G63, Glade. Reporting Dano Marin. Special assignment from Biological Control. Report consisting of standard universal tapes and special recorded comment. First segment, landing day +1. 6 a.m. sidereal mean time. Voices on tape, myself, Colonial Executive Shep Hafner, and Athel, a female member of our crew. Tape commencing.
Watch your step on the ramp, Marin. It's tilted.
Oh, yes, I will. All right, where are these people?
Over there, a few hundred feet. Beneath that tree.
Oh, come on, then.
You know, I'm going to have to note in the log that you cleared the planet for colonization as of last night.
I understand. I'm taping this now for my records. I take full responsibility for the safety of this planet.
All right. But wait until you see this. Here we are. Now, do you see there? In the clearing beneath that tree?
Good Lord, they haven't a stitch of clothes on. None of them.
That's just what I told you.
Are they all right? They're not...
No, they're just asleep. You can see them breathing.
Look here, Hafner. Who gave them permission to sleep out here in the open?
Shh, don't wake them yet. I gave them permission, Marin. They've been cooped up in that ship for over 6 months. They wanted to sleep outside. And in view of your clearance, I couldn't see any reason to refuse permission.
I know. You were within your rights. But the clothing, why, they don't even have blankets.
They did have, when they bedded down last night. Some of them even used the standard issue sleeping bag.
Well, then what happened to them? There are 13 people sleeping around that tree, and they're stark naked, all of them.
Last night you told me there was nothing dangerous on Glade. Do you still think so?
I know so. I have the complete biological survey.
Does your survey account for anything like this?
You know it doesn't.
That's what I thought. Okay. Now you've seen it for yourself. Let's wake them up and get them back to the ship.
No, wait. You better wake them one at a time. This will be embarrassing enough for them as it is.
Yes, I suppose you're right. I will wake the nearest one first. That's Athel, our lab technician.
Yes, well, here, take my jacket. Cover her with it before you wake her.
All right. Wake up, Athel. All right, Athel, wake up. It's Executive Hafner.
What? Oh, what is it?
I am sorry, Athel. Something has happened.
Oh, my clothes. My blanket, everything's gone.
Now, be careful. Don't wake the others.
Yes, the others. Why, good heavens, they're all that way.
Athel, just go back to your cabin on the ship. Everything is all right. We'll explain it to you when we have the others safely back.
But I feel so foolish. How could this happen? What's the meaning of it?
Now, just get back to the ship. Your clothes back there are perfectly safe.
Yes, all right. Well, thank you.
You told her we'd explain it later, Hafner. Do you think we can?
That's your job, isn't it?
This planet is as new to me as it is to you.
You're the biologist. What destroyed their clothing?
It would have to be something that could destroy both blankets and clothing without waking the people.
Nocturnal insects?
Ordinarily, I'd say that was a distinct possibility if it weren't for the fact that our surveys show no evidence whatsoever of any such insects on Glade.
Your survey could have missed them, couldn't it?
Not if they existed in any great quantity. Besides, if insects were the answer, there should be some kind of evidence of them right here in the area where Athel was lying. Certainly one or two of them would be crushed when she rolled over in her sleep.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
Now, look for yourself. There's absolutely no sign of anything at all here.
Well, what about some chemical, some vapor oozing from the ground?
No chance at all. I'd rule that out completely.
Then what?
Well, there's the tree itself. I suppose it could exude some sort of a chemical that might dissolve cloth, but I can check that in the lab.
Well, we'd better arouse the rest of these people and get them back to the ship.
Hey, wait.
What? What is it?
Why, it's some kind of an animal. Just caught a glimpse through there. There he is. Yeah, you see behind that bush?
Yeah, it looks almost like a chipmunk.
Yes, and he's feeding on something. Why, it looks like a piece of cloth.
Marin, do you think that...
Shh, he doesn't hear us. I'll just ease up to him now. Closer. Now.
You got him.
Oh, well, hey, you little devil.
Watch out, Marin, he's got sharp teeth.
You're telling me. Easy there, boy, easy. Like to have your head stroked? Sure you do. That's the boy.
He's calming down.
Yes, look at that. Oh, he's nestling in the crook of my arm, almost like a kitten.
Almost. Marin, I hope you don't mind short sleeves.
Now, what do you mean?
He's already eaten half the sleeve off your shirt. I think we've found the answer to our problem.
The animal was a small furry mammal resembling an Earth-type rodent. Its overall length is 14 centimeters, weight 512 grams. Fur stringy and sparse, color a light beige, indicating no particular protective coloring. The animal was placed in a special cage in a biological laboratory aboard ship for further study. Next tape, landing date +2.
Can we exterminate it?
It's quite a job.
How about locally?
Hardly. It's ecologically basic.
Look, Marin, you're from biological control. I've just got an executive's rating.
Well, look, you know how control works. They send a survey ship over and record the neural currents of the animals. They get everything that has a brain, including insects, and they take a few specimens to check the patterns. Now, here's the report on Glade. The survey shows that this animal is one of only 4 species of mammals on the planet. It is also the most numerous.
So if we kill them off here, others will swarm in from other areas.
Yes, that's about it. There are probably millions of them around the planet. Of course, if you want to put a barrier across the connection to the mainland, you might be able to wipe them out locally.
Look, Marin, I've got a tight schedule. I can't spare dirt-moving equipment for that. By the way, what do they eat?
Well, as far as I can see, anything. Insects, fruit, berries. You could call it an omnivora. Now that our clothing is handy, it eats that, too.
I thought our clothing was supposed to be vermin-proof.
It is on 27 planets. On the 28th, we met up with a little fella that has better digestive fluids, that's all. Oh, he's eating a leather belt right now.
Yeah. Are they likely to bother the crops we plant?
They shouldn't, but then I would have said the same thing about our clothing.
All right, Marin, you worry about the crops. Find some way to keep them out of the fields. Meanwhile, everyone sleeps inside the ship until we can build dormitories.
Biological examination of omnivora posed this question. Why only 4 species of mammals on Glade? No reptiles and only a few birds. On all comparable planets, a large variety of species. Nearest Earth parallel, fossil remains from the late Carboniferous show creatures like the omnivora, but on Glade there appears to be no further evolution. Next tape segment, L+22, place, temporary warehouse, Quartermaster Crone, and myself.
There you are, Mr. Marin. They got in every seed, sack, and barrel in this part of the warehouse.
Well, what makes you think it's mice?
Look, I've worked in grain elevators for 30 years in Kansas. Look at the way that sack is gnawed. And look over there. Droppings.
Well, it's not exactly...
I know, so they're mice-like. I want to know how to get rid of them.
Have you tried poison?
You tell me what poison to use, and I'll use it. They got into a 100-pound sack of arsenic and went through it like it was whipped cream.
Well, how did they get in? It's a fused dirt floor, isn't it?
It should be pest-tight. But see, there are cracks along here. They must have burrowed through. They were loose in here, and we don't have time to build another warehouse. They've got to be controlled here.
Well, catch me a few of them alive, and I'll see what I can do. Next morning, a dozen live specimens of mice-like mammals were delivered to the lab. No 2 of them were affected by the same poison, and the poison developed to control the omnivora was completely ineffective. Alternate discussed with Executive Hafner and Machinist Tully of Computer Engineering. Next tape, L+24. Hafner, Tully, and myself.
I tried it out yesterday, Mr. Hafner. I think I've got all the bugs licked now.
Tully, I don't want any more metal used than is necessary. This isn't standard authorized equipment.
You're not dealing with a standard authorized problem.
Are you ready to activate the device?
Sure thing. Here, help me get it down from this assembly bench down on the floor.
All right.
There you go, kitty. Now, what do you think of her? A robot cat.
Well, I still think we need at least 3 of them.
Mr. Marin, inventory on colonial expeditions is always short. 1 will have to do. All right, Tully. Show us how this mechanical mouse catcher operates.
You better get out of the way, Mr. Marin. If you've touched any of the mice in the lab, she'll go for you. She reacts to smell as well as sight and sound.
All right, Tully, start it up.
All right, kitty, go ahead and have a good time.
Why, she moves like a cat.
You know, I wouldn't bet a plug nickel on any mouse in the same warehouse with that baby.
Robot cat device proved relatively successful in Warehouse 1. Rodent damage held below danger margin. Next tape, L plus 37. Tully, Hafner, and myself.
I can't salvage it, Mr. Hafner. Just look at that. That skeleton was chrome steel, now it's bent. The skin was duroplastic, and now it's cut to ribbons. The computer parts are all smashed to bits.
How do you account for it, Tully?
Well, look around the poor thing. You had me build it for mice. These things weren't mice. They're a good foot long. They just outnumbered him, that's all.
You examined these dead animals, Marin?
Not closely.
Well, you'll find your mice have grown. They ganged up on that cat.
There aren't supposed to be any rats on Glade, are there?
Well, there weren't supposed to be any mice either. What are you going to do?
We'll have to build another warehouse. 2-foot-thick fused floors.
Wait a minute, Mr. Hafner. To do that, we'll have to stop all other construction. The atomic generator
Why not build more robot cats?
You weren't here when we opened the doors, Marin. The warehouse was swarming with rats. Tully, how many robot cats would we need? 5? 15?
We don't have enough parts to build more than 3.
If we need more than that, we'll have to rob the computer in the spaceship. And that's one thing I refuse to do. The spaceship is our only link with Earth until the next wave in 2 years. All right, then I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll floodlight the supplies at night. We'll post a guard with half-charged rifles until we can move to the new warehouse. That'll take about 10 days. Meanwhile, our fast crops are ripening. It's my guess that the rats will turn to that for food. Now, in order to protect our future food supplies, you'll have to activate your cold storage animals, Marin.
Mr. Hafner, it's against regulations to release any cold storage animals on a planet until after a complete investigation.
That takes 10 to 20 years. This is an emergency.
I don't want to be responsible for another rabbit-infested Australia or that planet in the Centauri system that the snails took over.
Marin, I'll take the responsibility. You're recording now, aren't you?
Yes.
All right. If that isn't authorization enough, I'll put it in writing.
Well, the beast I've got for this job won't be any good against rats this size.
You've got hormones. Use them.
Dead rats were gathered and frozen for further study. Observed animals, a wide variation in size. Internally, a lack of uniformity in organs. Some specimens had huge fangs and delicate jaws. Others had tiny teeth and massive bone structure. Obviously the most scrambled species ever encountered by a biologist. Reproductive cells were especially baffling. Proceeding with hormone treatment on cold storage Earth animals. Next tape, L plus 39. Lab technician, Atheel, and myself.
First one is coming out of it, Mr. Marin.
Yes, that makes 85% viability. That's not bad. All right, fella, now take it easy, take it easy.
Oh, he's a cute little fella.
But he's tough. That's a wire-haired terrier. They're small, but they've been used for ratters since the Middle Ages.
You think he's nearly ready for the hormone course?
I think so. All right, first pituitary injection.
Ready. All right, now, this is going to hurt just a little, fella.
Oh. Yeah, it's a dirty trick, isn't it, jabbing you with a needle when you're fresh out of the deep freeze? But don't you worry, fella. You'll be glad you had it. You'll stand a better chance against those rats when we work you up to about a Great Dane size. L plus 50, artificially enlarged terriers loosed in the fields of the fast crops. Following tape, field observation of terriers. Executor Hafner and myself.
How long have they been at it, Marin?
Since daybreak. I have to bring the dogs in at night and shoot them full of antibiotics.
Will the dogs last?
Well, this crop will be harvested in about a week. We'll make that. And there'll be 2 weeks to rest up before the next fast crop shows above ground. I think we've got the rats licked for a while.
Well, when you get a chance, you might ask some of those PhDs in Central how they happened to hand us a survey and forgot to give us a few details like mice and rats.
I've been checking on that, Mr. Hafner. I don't think there's any doubt. When that survey was made before we landed, there weren't any mice and rats on Glade.
Then where did they come from? How did they get here?
I don't know. But we're going to have to find out. Research project on pseudo-mice and pseudo-rats interrupted by field trip with Biological Survey Officer Whitehead. Tape L plus 63 in field geological survey vehicle. Whitehead and myself.
You think you got troubles? Can you read a sonar map?
No.
Here, look. See this scope? It reads straight down about 10 miles. I'm supposed to be out looking for oil shale, but I got kind of interested in this. Look, first few feet down, you can find fossils. After the first few feet, that's about 20,000 years, there are no fossils until you get way down here. That's about the same as late Carboniferous on Earth. Then you get the fossils again. It doesn't figure.
But isn't that usual? Changes in geological eras?
You don't get it, man. I'm not talking about eras, I'm talking about years. Straight down from here, 20,000 years ago, this was a desert. And then 3 years later, it was a jungle. 5 years after that, there was a glacier. Earth normal would be 50,000 years or more for a change like that.
What caused it?
Yeah, you've got me. Fluctuations in the sun, I don't know, but talk about changeable weather. This planet really has it.
Based on accumulated data, theory developed regarding mammalian life on planet Glade. Tape L plus 65. Place temporary headquarters of Executive Hafner.
Marin, I've got a lot of work to clear up this morning.
I thought you might like to know where the mice came from.
They don't bother us anymore.
I've also determined the origin of the rats.
They're under control.
I wonder if they are, Mr. Hafner.
What do you mean?
Mr. Hafner, I've checked this with Whitehead. Between 100 million years and 20,000 years ago, this planet was changing violently and quickly. The first change wiped out the dinosaur just the way it did on Earth. But it kept on changing. Desert, glacier, jungle, and all this within the lifespan of a single animal. For 1 million years, this was the norm of existence on Glade.
I've checked geological survey. The planet is stable now.
Well, that's not what I'm getting at. The point is, survival was difficult. Only one species of mammals managed to come through.
Now, wait a minute, Marin. There are 4 species, ranging in size from a squirrel to a water buffalo.
One species. They're the same. If the food supply for the largest animal increases, some of the smaller so-called species just grow up. Conversely, if the food becomes scarce in any category, the next generation, which apparently can be produced almost instantly, switches to a form which does have an adequate food supply.
The mice?
The mice weren't here when we got here. They were born of the squirrel-sized omnivora.
And the rats?
Born of the next larger size. After all, we are environment, too, and they adapt to environment.
Let me get this straight. The mutations...
On Earth, it would be mutation. Here, it's merely normal evolution. These animals have no genes or chromosomes. I don't know how they pass down heredity, but they react to external conditions far faster than anything we've ever encountered.
Then we'll never be free from pests unless, of course, we rid the planet of all animal life.
Yeah, you mean with radioactive dust? That won't work. They've survived worse.
Oh, maybe we could leave the planet. Leave it to the animals. I could exercise authority under Clause 364.
It's too late for that.
What do you mean?
We sent back the specimen ship. The animals are on Earth, too.
But those specimens were in cages.
Yes, but the next generation would be small enough to get out through the bars. They'll be running free in the cargoes of the spaceships. They'll land on Earth, and the first thing you know, a new mutation of rats will appear. They won't have any reason to connect it with the specimens from Glade.
They won't be able to vermin-proof every building on Earth.
No, we've got to stay here. We've got to study the animals here and find out how to beat them. If we can. Next tape, L plus 83. Place, Field Outpost. Quartermaster Crone, Hafner, and myself.
I saw it, Mr. Hafner. I saw it.
Are you sure?
There. Do you see that tree? No, the big one.
The white flowers?
That's the one. I saw it behind there.
Can you describe it?
Well, I didn't get a good... That's it. That's what I heard.
It sounds like a tiger. I've heard them like that in India.
You watch. Right by that tree.
Hey, look out. It's heading this way.
Give me that rifle.
Hurry up. Shoot. Try again. I got it.
Come on, let's take a look.
Now look out. It might be still alive.
No, I hit it square with that second charge.
What in the devil is it?
It's a good 8 feet long. What do you make of it, Marin?
Well, except for the lack of markings, it closely resembles a tiger.
Look at those claws.
We chase the rats out of the warehouse, they go to the fields. We hunt them down in the fields with dogs, and they breed tigers.
Well, that's easier than rats. We can shoot tigers.
Wait a minute. We've been here less than 3 months, Marin. The dogs have been in the fields only 2. And that tiger's mature. How do you account for that?
I am not sure, Mr. Hafner, but I imagine if the survival factor is high, the young don't ever have to be young.
What?
They can be born as fully functioning adults. Development report. Mice under control. Field rats under control by terriers. Tiger-like animals under control with searchlight and rifle. Additional complication. The original animal developed an appetite for electrical insulation. There is no protection except to keep the power on at all times. The last tiger-like animal was seen at L plus 130. After that, the attack ceased. By L plus 2 years, the animal seemed to have been controlled in all its forms. However, 3 months before the next colonists were due, a new animal was detected. Food was missing from the fields. Dogs were useless. The animal seemed to roam the fields and the dogs did not attack. Patrols were unable to find the animal. Tape L plus 2 years. Hafner, Engineer Tully, and myself.
Now, here's the way I'm rigging it up, Mr. Hafner. Whatever it is, it spotted the photoelectric cell rig. So I've worked up an alarm that reacts to body radiation.
You're sure the animal won't spot that?
Well, I'm burying it in the field. Then we'll move the visible alarms to another field.
All right, Tully. As soon as the alarm goes off, notify Mr. Marin and me. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. Just as soon as the alarm goes off.
L2 plus 15. Radiation alarm sounded. Place, field station, Hafner, and myself.
Look out where you're walking, Marin. We don't want to scare it away.
Well, there are dogs in that field, aren't there?
Well, there were supposed to be, but they didn't bark. Quiet.
There it is. See. Huh? It's in between the rows.
Look out. Look out. Give me a clear shot.
No, wait a minute. Don't shoot.
Look, Marin, I'm the executive here. I say it's dangerous.
Dangerous? That's why you can't shoot. It's more dangerous than you know.
Quiet. It'll hear you.
We're downwind. Now listen, Hafner. This is important.
I don't want any lecture now, Marin. I don't want to lose the shot.
You've got to listen. That animal could evolve mice. We stopped mice and it brought rats. We turned back the rat and provided the tiger.
All right, we stopped the tiger.
Not really. There was another animal being formed. The one that's in that field now. It took the animal 2 years to create it. How, I don't know. 1,000,000 years were required to evolve it on Earth.
He's moving away. Marin, I'm going to shoot.
Don't shoot. We can't destroy the animal. It's on the Earth now and on other planets. We've never even been able to get rid of our own rats. How can we exterminate this animal?
All the more reason to start now. Get down and give me a clear shot.
Listen. Are their rats better than ours? Will their beasts win or ours be stronger? Or will the two make peace, unite, and interbreed? It's not impossible. This animal could do it if interbreeding had a high survival factor. Don't you see, after the tiger, they bred this thing. If we shoot it down, what'll come next? Look at it, standing erect. Opposable thumbs, binocular vision, a large brain capacity. This one I think we can compete with. It's the one after this that I don't want to face.
Marin, it must hear us. It's looking this way.
Look at it, Hafner. He's holding his hands up to show us he's got no weapon. Drop your rifle.
Are you sure?
Drop your rifle! He's coming this way.
He's got one of those white blossoms in his hand.
Yes. Must be a sign of peace.
Wait. It looks almost like a man. I wonder what's inside that body.
I wonder what's inside that head.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features Verbal Agreement by Arthur Sellings, the story of an unsuccessful poet who was forced to ask what it was the aliens could want that was half as precious as the skins they wouldn't sell. Galaxy Magazine, on your newsstand today. Tonight, by transcription, X-1 has brought you Student Body, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by F.L. Wallace and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in the cast were John Raby, Bob Hastings, Kate Wilkinson, James Stevens, Charles Carruth, and Merrill E. Joels. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Bob Maurer and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Suppose you met a man in a tavern and he told you quite seriously that he wasn't a man at all, that he was the last Martian left alive. Well, that's what happens to a newspaper reporter next week when he is sent out on what appears to be a routine crank story. What happens next, though, is very far from routine, as the interview leads to a whole succession of astonishing events. The story is The Last Martian by Frederick Brown, next week on X-1. The Fisher Body Awards to Teenagers will be made tonight on the NBC Radio Network.